sellable assets, it's Wolfenden and Downs, isn't it?
Largely, yeah.
And I would be staggered if they were to go this month. I know every player has a price, but what a wrong message to send out to everybody if you were to do that in the middle of a promotion push to next year. Unless one of them gets an injury, touch wood, trying to find something there, and their value is only going to go up over the next 6 months. You would think, isn't it? So why sell them now? It's a different conversation if they don't go up this summer, and they get and then Championship clubs come in, and you've then got to start to weigh up how much money you might get and what you could do in terms of reinvestment. But don't sell them now.
In Wolfenden's case, Wolfenden's only played probably less than 20 League One starts, and that's the top level of football that he's played. So you're right. The value should only be going up. He's going to be a fixture in the team for the rest of the season. That looks to be the case, and if he is, add another 20 starts to that. That's at least going to add to his transfer value. But there's a lot more value left in someone like Luke Wolfenden, for example.
If I'm perfectly honest, and I'm a big fan of Luke Wolfenden, and I think he's got all the attributes to go all the way. He's what everyone's looking for in a modern day centre half now, but sometimes we're a little bit guilty of sort of positive bias with him, and there's a learning curve going on there. And we talked a lot about Toto earlier. Luke wasn't without mistakes at the weekend and in the last few games. There was a lovely moment where he was strong. He ran into the corner, took the ball off of the striker, out-muscled him, turned, played a nice ball out. But seconds later, he gets caught underneath a high ball. The goal that they scored from, it was kind of his stretching header that may be hypercritical there. But there are moments where his laid back, they keep talking about sticking a rocket up his backside, and he can look. The laid back stuff can look really good, but there are times where you just want him to switch on a little bit more. He's still learning. As you say, it's his first season in League One.
The Lincoln game was kind of the game at Lincoln was a bit of a highlight of what's bad in his game. I think he had as tough an afternoon as anybody did on that pitch. So there's plenty more for them to learn. Flynn's a little bit different, isn't he, in terms of his development stage? He's come on an awful lot. In the first half at Wickham in particular, he was brilliant. He was really, really good, and I can absolutely see why a Championship team would potentially look at him and see that he could go straight into their side. Luke Wolfenden, maybe not quite yet, perhaps, which makes me think that maybe a move for Downs, somebody coming in for Downs anyway, is more likely in January than Wolfenden. But like Stu said, it's not the right message to be sending out.
You're talking about potentially the future captain of Ipswich Town, with the sort of the Chambers Schoos era coming to an end, whether that's this season, next, or whatever. This is someone that if you could get promoted, you could build your team around Flynn Downs. His progress has been that good. You've given him the captain's armband a couple of times now. I think it would have to take the proverbial silly money to take him away, and I don't even know what sort of price you would put on that. What on earth would you want for him in January to make it worth your while?
That's a really difficult question.
It's hard, isn't it?
If Ipswich don't, you feel like Ipswich don't get the top fees for their players when they've sold them of late. But is Flynn Downs worth? Is he a £6, £7, £8 million player? Other teams in the chat, like Luton, for example, sold young fullbacks to the Premier League for £10 million a piece in the summer, didn't they? After a League One season, so if they can get those fees for those players, you could argue that Flynn's in the same boat, but you would worry that Ipswich wouldn't be getting that level of fee. I hope they would anyway, even if the decision was to sell.